Hello! I'm writing this week's episode in a notepad file as Windows updated and wrote off roughly half of my PC's programs. Firefox no longer opens, I can still send emails, but only to Sir Herbert Butterfield, and Microsoft Word is as useless as every single person who ever went on the Crystal Maze. Then again, maybe it's my fault, as this week I found out that I am an idiot. Zack-ike, creators of Opus Magnum, a game more beautiful than a sunrise, Infinifactory, a game that gave me my love of conveyor belts, and Exapunks, a game that can honestly fuck right off, this week announced that they're making their games free for schools. That's right, if you're a teacher, and going by my analytics that's got to be at least half of you, you can get Zack's games for lessons, after school clubs, or just as a reward for that one quiet kid that sits at the front and has already done all the homework. Seriously, young me would have eaten his own shit to play Opus Magnum. Instead, I just ate it for bugs. But that's not the end of this tale, oh no. On the page linked in the description, Zack has also given a difficulty rating, his own personal difficulty rating, to each of his games. My beloved Opus Magnum, a game I just about finished, gets 2 out of 5. Just 2 out of 5. Infinifactory, a game I couldn't finish, also gets 2 out of 5. And Exapunks, a game so hard that I spent over 3 weeks on a single level, gets a 3 out of 5. In fact, no game he has made scores higher than a 4. You know how Crysis was made for PCs that didn't exist yet? Well, is Zack-ike the only company making games for the next evolution of human beings? Actually, one last thing on the Zack-ike's train of thought. If you're a fan of his games, head over to Steam and pick up Zack-ike. It's a free 202-page ebook showing how he designs games, and it actually contains some of his old games that would have been lost to time and Adobe killing Flash, and also has some prototypes. And, well, let's just say that an older version of Opus Magnum let you connect arms to other arms. Oh, and just don't play the game that's pronounced, but not spelt, Constructor. It literally comes with a warning that you might need a degree in computer engineering to beat it, and personally, I've only got a GCE in art. Something a bit more on my level now. Cuphead got a trailer for its new DLC this week. We had a glimpse at 2 new bosses, Brian Blessed while being lost on a mountain, and that giant snowman that Elsa makes in Frozen. Cuphead, the delicious last course, has been delayed to 2020, but hopefully by then the price of a Switch will have gone down, so it'll be cheaper to replace my one when this bastard of a game makes me lob it at a wall. Something a bit more on my levels now. I've been playing a shit ton of Mario Maker 2 this week, and honestly I think it's the best 2D Mario since New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. There's 100 levels that make up the story, and they're all short and sweet and focused on a single core idea, most of which are very silly. And the random course mode is beyond addictive, and unsurprisingly, I've made some levels myself, which are on screen now. You can play all of these levels right now, of course presuming you've got Super Mario Maker 2, and I promise you that your deaths at my evil traps and bastard level design will make me laugh, laugh, and laugh again. Thank you. Something I didn't do this week was test my Valve Index in any great depth. I've flung it on and can confirm that it's lighter, more comfortable, and visually about the same as a Vive Pro. The controllers are really cool, but nothing's really using them yet, and the jump from 90 FPS to 120 FPS isn't exactly a leap or a bound, it's more a small little hop or skip. It's the speakers, though. The speakers blow the Vive, the Rift, and literally everything else out of the water. Yeah, speakers, because the Index doesn't have headphones. Instead, it mounts 2 speakers near your ears instead. The increasing quality here is exceptional, and when Matilda decided to barge into the room, as is her wont, I didn't shit myself when something unseeable and furry brushed against my legs. I had heard her come in. Expect to see every major headset from now on go this route, as it's honestly the biggest innovation coming from Valve's new headset. Right, this next one is a bit odd. Remember Mythbusters, that TV show that ended about 3 years ago? Well, it's getting a game. A trailer was released about a month or so ago, and I simply don't understand it. For one thing, the hosts of Mythbusters, if I remember rightly, were Adam and Jamie, not Walter fucking White. For another thing, no, actually, wait, let's go back to that first thing. Why the fuck is Heisenberg treading lightly around the Mythbusters workshop? I don't want to call this too early, but maybe wait for reviews on this one. Speaking of waiting, great segue down, Self 5. Remember Cubeworld, the game that entered early access in about 2013? The year Tomb Raider was rebooted? Well, apparently it's not dead, with the developer tweeting some new screenshots this past week. Fancy jumping in and having a go? Well, you can't. The game was taken down from sale in 2015 and hasn't received a single update since July 23rd, 2013. Yeah, its website doesn't even acknowledge the existence of Windows 10. Look, one day, maybe this will come out and everyone will bask in the glow of the greatest game ever made, but more likely this is a dude's solo passion project that got a little bit too much media attention and he's just finishing on his own time. Don't expect a release, and maybe if one happens, it'll be a nice surprise. Like a shot. What? Releases! This week saw Faction Guerrilla smash up the Switch with a surprisingly great port. I've been playing it in handheld mode, and unless you're knocking down literally all the very biggest things at once, it remains at a remarkably solid 30 FPS on that little tiny handheld. Also, as it's the remastered version, you get to bring the wildly OP multiplayer backpacks into the single player, allowing you to crash through the side of buildings with a rhino, crash through the top of buildings with a thrust, or just go invisible and smack everyone about the chops with a hammer. Great fun. Hormone and horror them up, Stranger Things 3, the game, unleashed its way onto consoles and PC this past Thursday with a delightfully on-brand retro look. I've not played it yet, but I shall be streaming it on Sunday, and as someone who's never seen the show, I'm excited to play as the curly hair, powers girl, meat dog, I don't know. Right, that's enough news, let's go to the comments section. I am genuinely surprised that we got a second episode. Fuck you! That's all for this week. Be sure to leave comments for next week, where I'll likely not have an episode because I'll be at CoxCon. That's all from me. Remember to like and subscribe. To Richard Herring, the great UK stand-up who I've just discovered uploads his podcast, Richard Herring Leicester Square Theatre Podcast, to YouTube. Guests have included minor celebrities such as Stephen Fry, David Mitchell, Ross Noble, Greg Davis, Stuart Lee, Tim Minchin, Steve Coogan, Brian Blessed, Eddie Izzard, Johnny Vegas, Amano Iannucci, Dawn French, Louis Theroux, Ed DeWright, and basically every single famous person I've ever heard of. And Ed Miliband. The end.